everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. This crazy one here is Freya. I'm Jason, and we're bringing you today's video. And today we want to talk about an author we've talked about in the past, just a different book. So don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. We appreciate all that help and support. We're just a small little family channel that just loves to talk about books, and that's what we want to do. So today I want to talk about Dante King. Talked about quite a few of his books up to this point, and his book Mindbreaker. It says Mindbreaker 1, so hopefully it turns into a series. It definitely has the potential to turn into a series. Plot-wise, it's for sure looking like it'll be a series. Excuse me, it's 4 in the morning. I guess we'll just see how it's received on whether or not it turns itself into a series. So as usual, I'm going to talk about 4 things: the world, the plot, or the world, the characters, the plot, and the writing style. The writing style I don't really need to cover too much since we've talked about Dante King before, and he's very consistent in his writing style. So the world is, our world-ish for the most part. It's fictional city names, but for the most part it's real world adjacent, our world ish for the most part. Modern times, modern technology. The only difference being superpowers, superheroes, supervillains, but mostly superpowers and how they come about, which you start to learn later on. And for the most part, the superpowers, the superheroes don't exist. There are no superheroes. If they're superpowered, for the most part, they're evil, and that's the main change of the world from our world, is that the superpowered beings have basically taken over. One in particular basically took over, and for the most part runs the world as kind of the premier emperor, I suppose, of the world. Now, one of the things that comes up through the book as a theory, as they start to discuss how these powers came about, from almost like micro wormholes, rifts to another dimension, something along those lines, is one of the characters has a theory that the superpowers make the people go evil, and did a study on it. Some people seem to be able to resist it better than others, but for the most part, once they get their powers and they start using them, they become evil. Sorry about that. So I actually draw a couple of parallels between this series, or this book rather, and Brandon Sanderson's Steelheart book. Because you kind of have the same thing. You've got superpowers that superpowered beings that now run the world. Only in this case, in Sanderson's case, they're small little warlords. They're warlords that run like cities or areas, versus one that has taken over the whole world. And the advent of the superpowers makes them go evil, breaks something within their minds. So there's a couple parallels there for sure. In fact, big similarities that stuck with me almost right away. So characters really just, it kind of boils down to one. The one main character, Devin, and he is kind of a normal college student that discovered that he has some minor mental powers, at least what he thought was minor mental powers. Basically, he was an empath. He was an empath, but an empath, a pretty damn detailed empath, I suppose I should say. He's turned into a player while he's in college, because his ability doesn't just enable him to feel people's emotions, but enables him to feel exactly what it is they want. Exactly what do they want? Exactly what do they want to hear somebody say? Exactly even how do they want to hear the person say it? Basically, Devin knows whether or not he needs to be the nice guy, the self-deprecating humor, the minor flirt, the cocky, arrogant guy. So it's not just that he can sense what they want to hear, he can sense how they want to hear it as well. So definitely comes a little bit closer to telepathy, which is what we start to realize after a while, some form of. And plot-wise, it's basically just Devin versus the superpowers. Once his powers start to become known, first you have Prima Donna coming after him, and he discovers with his powers that he is able to, as he calls it, break their mind. He takes the evil. He forces all of his own pain and anger into them, supposedly forces them to look at it from the other side and see what the effects on other people are of their own actions. And this then, if he pushes hard enough, breaks their mind, breaks them either away from whatever is influencing them, as is kind of hinted at with a couple of them, but just basically it alignment shifts them. It alignment shifts them 100%. They go from dead evil to perfectly good, to paladin level good. So you've got Prima Donna, one of the premier ones, and then his guardian, since his parents are dead, Mrs. Kennedy, I think it was, who also eventually turns out to have superpowers. Overall with the plot, there's good and bad. There's good and bad. One of the things I like about the book, this is the second book recently I've read within this genre that really only has 2 adult-oriented scenes, which, I have nothing against them. Sometimes I read them, sometimes I skip through them. It honestly depends how good the book is. The better the book is as a book, as far as the plot goes and the characters, the more likely I am to skip through the adult sections, because I want to get back to the actual storyline, the actual plot. Otherwise, if I do find myself tending to read the adult sections, oftentimes I don't end up finishing the book, because the book itself just clearly doesn't interest me enough. So this one only has 2 major adult scenes. They're also ridiculously long, because again, this book actually gripped me. This book was interesting. I wanted to know what happened next, and trying to skip through the adult scenes was a bear. It really was. On my Kindle, at least. If it was just a book, I could have just hand flipped 20 pages. I would have. My only real knock on the book, it's a good book. It's a good book. It's interesting. It's gripping. You want to follow along. You want to know what happens next, even though it is a little bit simplistic. My only major knock is actually the one character, Prima Donna, and how hard they push for her with her conversations and getting real angry over people saying she's been mind controlled and it doesn't really matter why she feels the way she feels. The fact is she feels the way she feels. My only knock, the only thing I was not a huge fan of, is I also draw some parallels between this book and a couple of other authors that have a whole lot more overt, non-consensual type of stuff, if that makes sense. This one isn't any kind of non-consensual scenarios or anything like that, but the radical shift to the mind, and along with that radical shift to the mind, they're somehow madly in love with the character, to where they want to, all they think about is getting naked and sweaty with them. That's just, it's too clearly controlled. It's too clearly created by the person. I mean, it just is, because it is. So that makes it very, to me, almost not consensualish. So it's my only knock to the book. Otherwise, I really liked it. Really liked Dante King. So, and as far as the writing style goes, it's very typical Dante King, guys. So if you like Dante King's books, or his non-adultish books that he writes under the name D.B. King, you're going to enjoy Mindbreaker, and I think you'll like it. The superhero genre is starting to really take off within this around the subgenre of the harem lit. So yeah, after you guys hit the like and subscribe buttons, guys, go check out Mindbreaker 1 by Dante King. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye now.